The world believes that Xebec died at God Valley. But the world has been wrong before. Because how do you kill a man who walks with demons? In the sacred history of the One Piece world, there are names we're allowed to remember: Roger, Whitebeard, Luffy, even Joy Boy. But then, there is the name we're told to forget. Rox. A name that struck fear into the celestial dragons themselves. A name erased so violently from history, even the strongest men whisper it like a curse. But you can only bury a name if the man behind it is truly gone. And Xebec was never gone. He simply waited. Waited for the world to grow arrogant. For Emu to grow old. And for the pirates to grow complacent. Then, he would rise. 48 years ago, the holy land of Mary Joie stood proud and untouchable. It was the center of the world, where kings bowed and gods reigned. But on one forgotten day, a man without a crown walked into the room of flowers with a pistol in his hand. He didn't sneak in. He didn't fight through guards. He just appeared. The guards collapsed. The alarms failed. And suddenly, Emu was staring into the eyes of the man the world was never supposed to remember. Rox. What followed was not a battle. It was a conversation. A warning. And a promise. "I will come back here," Rox said. "I will come back." That wasn't bravado. That wasn't a bluff. That was prophecy. The Room of Flowers is not a throne room. It is a secret far older than the celestial dragons themselves. It is where the world government hides its sins. Where they mourn their failures. And where, according to whispers long erased, they house the curse of Davy Jones. We know Davy Jones as a legend, a cursed mariner who took souls to the deep. But in the world of One Piece, Davy Jones was real. And Rox was his heir. You see, Rox did not admire Davy Jones. He became him. The same madness, the same hunger, the same rebellion against fate itself. Rox didn't want gold. He didn't want power. He wanted the world. Not to rule it, but to destroy it. He saw the gods, and called them cowards. He saw the kings, and called them parasites. He saw the system, and vowed to burn it from the inside out. And that's exactly what he did. They say Rox formed his crew through brutality. That may be true. But brutality only binds the weak. What truly united the men and women around Rox was his vision. Shiki the Yakuza didn't follow him. He walked beside him. Stussy the science robber didn't need faith. She saw an opportunity. Whitebeard, Wang Ji, Marlin, Ganzui, they didn't join Rox because they believed in peace. They joined because he promised them one final truth, that the world government was beatable. And they believed him. But something went wrong. History says Garp and Roger defeated him. That the world was saved. That balance was restored. But where is the body? Where is the grave? There isn't one. Because Rox didn't die. He scattered. He fractured into whispers. Into ideologies. Into plans set in motion long before Luffy ever drew his first breath. 4 years after the Room of Flowers incident, Hachinosu began to awaken. Pirate Island. The island of exile. A place where nations threw away criminals too dangerous to keep alive. But that's a lie. Hachinosu wasn't a prison. It was a crucible. A forge. And the world government knew it. They fed criminals gold. They let them live. They let them organize. Why? Because the world government needed chaos to distract from its own decay. And they never expected someone to unite the chaos. They never expected Rox. With stolen treasure, a blood-stained ship, and an unkillable dream, Rox began again. He didn't build a crew. He built a myth. Every battle, every Davy backfight, every massacre, was part of a larger plan. A plan that didn't end with Pirate King. Because Rox didn't want to be Pirate King. He wanted to be everything. The sea, the land, the sky, the law, the sin, the freedom, everything. And then, he found Harold, the king of Elbaf. The last god who still walked like a man. Harold was noble, righteous, a warrior. But even he was tempted. Because when Rox speaks, he doesn't speak like a pirate. He speaks like destiny. Come with me, Harold, he said. Together, we will be unstoppable. Let's take the world. Even Loki, the young prince, cried when he heard it. Because in that moment, Rox wasn't a villain. He was hope. The kind of hope that makes men leap from red lines. That makes giants kneel. That makes kings tremble. And even though Harold refused, he never truly walked away. Because the words of Rox stick like poison. And now, as fleets gather near Hachinosu again, as the flags rise once more, as the shadow of Teach grows longer, we feel it. The world feels it. The return. Rox is not a man anymore. He is a storm. A force. A scar on the ocean itself. He stared into the eyes of Emu. He smiled in the room of flowers. He made a pact with death, and won. And now, the world must answer the question it buried for half a century. What happens when the devil comes back to collect? Because Luffy may be Joy Boy. But Rox Xebec, he was the first to challenge the gods. And he might be the last to defeat them. The Pirate King dream? That was never enough for him. Because Rox never chased treasure. He was the treasure. The forbidden fruit of rebellion. The origin of chaos. The one who D chose, when joy failed. And as chapter 1155 ends, and the blood flag of the Rox pirates rises once more, only one thing becomes clear. The final war won't be about dreams. It will be about memory. And the one name the world wanted to forget, will be the one name it cannot escape. Rox Xebec. He has returned.